Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy. This is Chazzy right here. You know I'm Chazzy. You know I can't be anyone else. You know this channel is called Chazzy, so this is me. I've got to be him, nobody else, you know. Sorry guys, I'm trying to inject a little bit of humor before I start because today's topic makes me so freaking angry. God, I get so pissed over this. It's not even funny. I'm gonna be talking about, for the first time on this channel, actually not exactly the first, but you're gonna understand why, the city of Chernobyl in Ukraine. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows at this point what Chernobyl is and what happened, you know. Way back in 1986, we had a nuclear power plant explosion, which to this day is considered to be the deadliest power plant explosion in human history in terms of cost and casualties. You know, there were so many people who died right off the get-go, and some who took a little bit longer because of the radiation. And I would go on to say that right now it is the most dangerous place on Earth in terms of radiation, you know. Now, here's the thing. To give you guys an idea of how powerful this thing was, the explosion happened in a power plant in the city of Ukraine, but there was so much radiation, you know, it was so freaking powerful that the cloud of radiation actually seeped into other countries. So other countries close to Ukraine were suffering from the radiation, the aftermath. There's an actual term for it, fallout. You know, so there were other countries next to it that were affected by the fallout because of how powerful this explosion was. People who were closer to the explosion, they died very, very quickly, you know, and to this day it's very uninhabited, you know. But I mean, it's really hard to explain what I'm about to explain, guys. No, but before I get into it, let me give you a few more tidbits of info, some technical information here. I got a little cheat sheet about what actually happened that day. Now, here's the thing. The initial emergency response, together with later decontamination of the actual environment, ultimately involved more than 500,000 personnel, and it cost an estimated $68 billion, you know, in 2019 when adjusted for inflation. Now, here's the thing. There was a reactor design flaw, apparently, you know, that actually caused a serious breach of protocol during the simulated power outage safety test, and that actually happened, you know, the explosion actually happened later. Now, here's the thing. There were fewer than 100 deaths directly attributed, you know, to the accident, with varying estimates of increased mortality over some subsequent decades, but that's another story. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, it started, I'm going to skip a little bit ahead because some of this stuff is, whoa, where are you going? Where are you going? And now, here's the thing, guys. Here we go. Right before the explosion, a large amount of energy was suddenly released, and two explosions ruptured the reactor core and destroyed the entire reactor building. That must have been quite a sight. One was a highly destructive steam explosion from the vaporizing superheated cooling water, and the other explosion could have actually been another steam explosion. But anyway, this was followed by an open-air reactor core fire that released considerable airborne radioactive contamination for about 9 days. So the initial fallout lasted for 9 freaking days, man, and it actually precipitated into other parts of the USSR and in Western Europe, especially Belarus, which was about 16 kilometers away, where about 70% of it landed before finally being contained on May 4th of the same year. Now, what we're talking about here is something that released a lot of fire, you know, a lot of smoke and radiation into other varying parts of not only the city, but also the country itself. Looks like about 49,000 people were evacuated from the area, and the exclusion zone was later increased to 19 miles or 30 kilometers when a further 68,000 people were evacuated from the wider area. Now, here's the thing. Here we go, guys. Immediately when it happened, 134 staff and firemen were hospitalized with acute radiation syndrome due to absorbing the high doses of ionizing radiation, which, in case you guys don't know, is bad for your skin. And of these 134 people, 28 died in days to months afterwards, and approximately 14 suspected radiation-induced cancer deaths followed within the next 10 years. So we're talking about long-term effects that affected everybody that was involved, and they eventually died because of the effects of the radiation in their bodies. And looks like some casualties here too. And then later on, eventual delta in the decades. So in the eventual decades that follow, about 4,000 fatalities were solely assessed when the 3 most contaminated former Soviet states. That sounded a little confusing. Let me go back and do it again. Predictions with the most accurate values of actually what will happen of the eventual total death toll in the decades ahead from the Chernobyl disaster vary from 4,000 to about 9,000 or 16,000 when assessing the total continent of Europe. So it's really freaking crazy, guys. And before I continue, let me show you a few photos of what the city looked like after the disaster. You know, after everybody was evacuated, this is more or less what the city began to look like. Now, what I consider to be the scariest part about this whole entire thing is that if you were living in the city, if you were living there of the time that it happened, I mean, you definitely heard it or saw the explosion, you know? You saw it there. It was like, I mean, if you live close to it, you would have definitely noticed it. But then you might be like, oh, it's just an explosion. You know, that happens all the time. Must be pretty bad over there, but I don't think it's going to be anything too serious. You don't even see, you don't notice, nor do you feel immediately the radiation already in the air coming into you. You know, it's in the air, man. It's like the coronavirus, you know, so it seeps into you, it goes into your skin, through your pores, it goes in through your mouth, your ears, your nose, every pore in your body. The radiation seeps in and it affects you without you even noticing. Now, of course, those who were closer to the actual explosion site, they started to suffer the symptoms much, much quicker, you know, and it's really scary because there is something specific inside of the reactor core that's actually, before I get into it, let me explain what happened. Now, they actually, here's the thing, they started to, when was it? Where is the date? It doesn't say the date here. But at some point, they started to build something around it, sort of like a protection chamber called the sarcophagus, which is like a dome of sorts to try to contain the radiation inside of the isolated power plant that's now demolished, you know? And why exactly did they do this? Well, of course, one of the reasons is to try to contain the radiation itself and isolate it, but it is because of a little thing called the elephant's foot. Have you guys ever heard of it? Well, I have. I actually did a creepypasta narration a long time ago talking about exactly this. One of my best narrations on this channel. I'm gonna go back to doing them soon. It's just, it's been a little hard lately, but I'm going to go back to doing creepypasta narrations for you guys. But that one is my longest and most detailed one to date. You know, one of my personal favorites on this channel. And the elephant's foot is actually, right now, at the current moment, the most radioactive object on this planet. You know, it can kill you in like what? 5, 6, or 700 seconds or so, more or less, you know? But of course, only if you are exposed to it for long periods of time. If you get close to this thing, like if you get close enough to see it and then immediately leave, you know, bolt the hell out of there, you're still gonna die. Let me explain a little bit of how this thing works exactly. Now, it right here is actually inside of the reactor. It's right in the center of the damn reactor. It was actually discovered in reactor 4, and it does remain an extremely radioactive object, by the way, and the danger has decreased over time due to the decay, but it is still very, very freaking dangerous. And here's the thing, it is actually a large mass of black corium with many different layers, you know. From the outside, it kind of looks like tree bark and glass, a very weird mixture of those two kind of things, you know. And it was actually formed right when the disaster happened, and it lies right beneath reactor number 4 under the reactor room 217. The composition is actually comprised primarily of silicon dioxide with traces of uranium, titanium, zirconium, magnesium, and graphite. Wow. And the mass is largely homogeneous, although through the depolymerized silicate glass contains occasional crystalline grains of zircon. And these grains of zircon are not elongated, so they do suggest a moderate crystallization rate. With uranium dioxide dendrites grew quickly at high temperatures within the lava. Their zircon began crystallization during slow cooling of the lava. You guys probably think this is really freaking boring, but I like reading it. It makes me sound smart. Despite the distribution of uranium-bearing particles not being uniform, the radioactivity of the mass is eventually evenly distributed, and the mass is quite dense and immune to the drill mounted on a remote-controlled trolley, but unable to be damaged by a Kalashnikov rifle, an AK-47, using armor-piercing rounds. Why would you try to do that? Do you think it's alive or something? You're trying to kill it? And then, by June of 1998, the outer layers had started turning to dust and the mass had started to crack, and as recently as May 2021, that's this month. No, that was last month. Wow. The mass was described as having a consistency similar to sand. Okay, now this is where it gets scary. The lethality. Now, at the time of its discovery, about 8 months after the formation, more or less, radioactivity near the elephant's foot was approximately 8,000 roentgens, or 80 grays per hour, delivering a 50-50 lethal dose of radiation, which is about 4.5 grays of radiation, within 5 freaking minutes. 5 minutes, guys. Since that time, the radiation intensity has declined a little bit, but still in 1996, the elephant's foot was visited by a deputy director who took photographs using an automatic camera and a flashlight to illuminate the otherwise dark room. The problem with the elephant's foot is that when you try to take a photo of it, it is so radioactive that it corrodes your camera's film. Like, I'm not even joking, by the way. There are very few photos of this thing in existence, and the photos come out really distorted and weird. It's almost like you put too many effects in Photoshop or something, because it literally distorts your camera's film. The very few photos that exist of this thing, I am going to put here now for you guys to see. Now, of course, there is a very overlying worry, you know, that the elephant's foot is going to seep into the drinking water and that's actually going to contaminate it and cause illness and death, you know. But I don't think, apparently that's not really an issue anymore, because it is starting to slowly, oh, you got my tablet almost fell. It is starting to slowly, the corroded mass is starting to stabilize, so I don't think it's going to be melting too much, you know. But it is still really freaking scary, man. It's really freaking scary because this thing can kill you so freaking quickly. I mean, it's not even funny, you know. I mean, we're talking about freaking, we're talking about a very lethal dose of radiation within 5 minutes. So if you are like the people who worked on this thing, the workers who were there in the photos that you guys saw, they're all dead, you know, because the radiation eventually killed them. It gave them cancer and a bunch of other illnesses because it causes also diarrhea and vomiting, hair loss, you know, you get sick, you're disoriented, and eventually you die from what would be natural causes or unnatural, because this thing is just freaking scary as hell. And it is the most dangerous object here on this planet. There actually seems to be an estimated, there's like, people are going to, I wonder if I can find it here. I guess not, but there was something that somebody said. They estimate that it's going to continue to be radioactive for about 100,000 years or 10,000. Probably 10,000. So, and by the way, going back to the actual Chernobyl, the exclusion zone, this is really freaking crazy because there is something called the zone of alienation, where if you go into a certain area of Chernobyl today, you're already going to feel the radiation, even if you're really far away from the actual radiation zone. So it took over a really large part of Ukraine, man. So there is a certain area that's already quarantined off just so you don't get exposed to the damn radiation. And it's weird because as of 2016, 187 locals returned to go live there in their houses, you know, which I just like. Remember what I said when I said about people being stupid? Because you know that what is with this homing instinct, man. I can understand if you're someone who's lived there since you were a kid, you know, there's a lot of nostalgia, but the whole entire city is contaminated, you idiots. Why don't you go live somewhere else? You know, what is with this thing? You go there, you know that there's radiation, you know you're gonna die, and yet you still go back there anyway. Let's get back to the information here, guys. Some sources have given different estimates for when the site would be considered habitable again, and different sites actually give different accounts. So the Ukraine state authorities in 2011 gave it about 320 years or less. I don't think this generation is going to live through that. The Chernobyl director in 2016 or so, he gave an estimation of 20,000 years or more for the city to be habitable again. And then Greenpeace, because Greenpeace is always like the biggest buzzkill, in 2016 they estimated tens of thousands of years for the city to be habitable again. And then the Christian Science Monitor in the same year, 2016, gave about 3,000 years for when the city would be habitable again. You know. Now here's the thing. I've been rambling on for quite a bit, and I have still not gotten to the worst part. The part of the video that makes this video be in the What's the Damage playlist. Tourists. Oh boy. I hate tourists. At the time of me recording this video, Chernobyl is a very popular, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, tourist attraction. Because people apparently really want to go see the contaminated city that can kill you with radiation in a matter of minutes if you get close enough to the damn power plant. So even far away, guys, miles away, kilometers away, feet, however, whatever measurement you want to use, there is a certain distance where the radiation is still going to affect you, and people are still going to the This actually went viral some time ago, you know, it actually provoked an outcry from the public because people are really stupid, especially these YouTubers, not myself included because I would never go there, but digital influencers in general, bloggers, you know, and vloggers who, they want to go there to take photos, and not just regular photos, but they do photo shoots. you see women doing photo shoots wearing barely any clothes where there is radiation. Oh my God. Like, when these people die because of skin cancer, how am I supposed to feel sorry for them? I actually kind of want them to die to learn a lesson, you know, so their friends can actually see that it's freaking dangerous, man, you know? I mean, like, why go there to do a photo shoot? Why not go literally anywhere else, you know? Or why don't take a photo in a studio and Photoshop yourself into Chernobyl, you know? It's still gonna be in bad taste, but at least it's gonna be safer than what you're doing, you know? It's gonna be a lot less insensitive. It doesn't make any sense at all, man, because people are turning this into a tourist attraction, and it's not. It's a place where a lot of people lost their freaking lives, man, you know? And it's not somewhere where you can give. I literally have a loss for words, you know, because like the anger that I feel, there aren't enough words in the 3 languages that I speak to describe the anger that I feel, you know, because you're taking something that's supposed to be a memorial site and you're just treating it like another backlot for a photo shoot. You know, like people who go to the Titanic, the wreck of the Titanic, can take away things that, I mean, guys, it's a freaking burial site. People died there, you know, you gotta respect it. Now, if you guys don't know about this whole controversy with the photos thing, I'm gonna show you guys if I can find a few of the photos that these bloggers go there to take, and it does, like, you're gonna understand that it doesn't make any sense at all. Oh boy, out of all the places in the world to take photos, you guys go here. It's a very popular tourist attraction, man. You know, the most radioactive place on the planet with the most radioactive thing on the planet that can kill you in 5 minutes if you stand there close enough, and you're just, you know what, I have a challenge for you guys, all of you vloggers, you know, and you photographers who go there to take photos of a Chernobyl. Why don't you go to where the elephant's foot is, huh? Take a selfie there. I dare you. I challenge you to go there and just stay a couple of minutes there and take a couple of photos. Take a few selfies, and without a mask, without any protective gear at all. Take a couple of photos. Try to post them on your Instagram. See if you're going to be able to, if there's going to be enough time for you to get the photo on Instagram before you die. That is a challenge for all of you dumbasses who go to Chernobyl to take these stupid photos. That is my challenge to you. I really want to see you do it. I really want to see you complete this challenge. Oh boy, then I'm going to definitely admire you. Yeah, you try to face and conquer the elephant's foot if you know what's good for you. But anyway, guys, look, I've been rambling on for too long. You know, the video's getting too long already, and I don't like long videos because they take longer to edit. This one is already going to be a hell of a lot of work, but I hope you guys enjoy it. You know, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing, because I do a lot of different kinds of content, and my videos are, as you guys can see, take a lot of work to produce and edit, you know, the thumbnails and everything. So if you think that deserves a subscribe, I really appreciate it. Also, give this video a like, and hey, I release videos every single day, guys, you know, sometimes 1, sometimes 2, and at random times of the day, so you should also hit the notification button to know exactly when they're going to be coming out, you know. Subscribe today to become a dude or a dudette, and welcome to the family, okay? This is Chazzy, signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.